Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm Gav Major, and this is a review of the Tier 6 Premium British Cruiser HMS Cheshire, available for 12,500 doubloons, but also available in two bundles. One of the bundles is 19,800 doubloons, and the other bundle is 24,900 doubloons. Now, the contents of those bundles can be inspected on the store, and they are only available this week, whereas the cruise will be available with no end date in sight. However, going over the two bundles, I think you usually know my opinion on these. I'd say the 19,800 one probably isn't really worthwhile. The 24,900 one might be justifiable if you're after the flag, or if you're after any particular, like the commander crates, for example. Now, this is a Tier 5 and 6 game of domination from Tears of Desert, and routine Benham, Kazinair, Dallas, Belfast, Fiji, a division of an Izmor and a Fuso. Then we have a Gneisenhower and a Colorado. I've spawned on the left, and the two cruisers that spawned in with me, the Leander and the Aoba, are not playing this flank, so already this is off to a bad start. Now, first of all, the cruiser being available for 12,500. I'd hold off from buying her yet. She's very awkward, and so if during this review if I kind of suddenly get distracted, it's due to how much concentration you need to put into Cheshire in order to play her. Now, survivability in comparison to the Tech Tree cruisers, she does have the highest HP base and HP pool. However, if you include the premiums, then she does have the second highest HP pool versus the Boise. Her armor values appear to be quite reasonable, but what I'd like to highlight to you is if you look at her from her side, you'll see that she has a raised armored section, mostly pronounced at her midships. This is the Citadel. So that gives you an idea on how exposed the Citadel is from the broadside and how above the waterline it is. Most evident from this view here, when the water's there. So if you look here, you can see that you see the armour kind of line. So that thicker armour line is basically where the Citadel is. Secondly, she has a transom stern. That's that really flat stern that she has at the rear. Because it's flat, it means it's not going to be bouncing many shots that come in when you're kiting away. So it's very easy to be citadeled through the stern by AP in this cruiser. So if you're a battleship and you see a Cheshire kiting away, try and get that stern. Now, she does have the joint highest torpedo reduction for the tier. Yay, I guess you could say. I have no idea where those shots are coming in. There they are. Now, artillery-wise, this is where all her traits are in the store. So, of course, they give ships traits in order to try and give you an idea of what the ship's going to be like. And to be honest, they haven't got them wrong. But I think they should have maybe included some other traits, especially ones that highlight some of the weaknesses of the Cheshire. So traits wise, she has big guns, pyromania, and superior HE penetration. I can't argue with all those because she does come with 6 9.2 inch guns in 3 dual gun turrets. Now these are positioned with A turret up front, with B turret super firing, and then we have a Y turret at the rear. Now these are the largest caliber guns for the tier. They do have an average range of 14.9 kilometers. They do have the slowest reload speed of 17 seconds. You do have a very low gun count of only 6 guns. And you have an average range, I think I've already covered that, and you have a just better than average turret traverse speed as well. Now here you can see I'm literally kiting at my most maximum range in order to make sure I can keep dodging incoming fire. So thankfully I've been able to do about 14,500 damage while only taking about 5,000 damage in return. Now, You have the highest HE and AP shell damage. You have a very high fire chance as well, which is 24%. However, due to your slow rate of fire and your low gun count, you do have the lowest HE and AP DPM, along with the lowest fires per minute. Now going on to torpedoes, you have 2 quadruple launchers, 1 per side. Now these have a slow reload speed per launcher, however they do have a fast reload speed per tube. Now apart from that, everything else about them is pretty average. They do average detectability of 1.3 kilometers, average range of 8 kilometers, average speed of 61 knots. They do have a better than average damage of 15,433. So I guess that's one nice thing about them. But apart from that, they really are the most average torpedoes you can get. Now, manoeuvrability, you are the second fastest at 34 knots. You have the third largest turning circle of 720 meters, and you have the third slowest rudder shift of 10.5 seconds. Concealment wise, you have the second best concealment, pretty much the same as the Fiji, which is 11.6 kilometers. You have an average detectability from the air, which is 7 kilometers, and you have a third worst detectability when firing in smoke, which is 7.2 kilometers, and that's basically due to your large gun signature, I guess you could say. So, going on to the consumables, and this is where, if you've been watching reviews of the Cheshire on the PC, prepare to be disappointed. On the PC, she comes with a monster repair party. However, on Legends, she does not. So already, she's kind of a bit worse than she is in the PC version of the game, which is already the first disappointment, I guess you can say. You get 2 repair parties, and these heal 212 HP per second for 28 seconds, and that means each repair party is going to be giving you 5,936 HP. Now you also have sonar. You get 2 sonar, and these detect ships at 4.2 kilometers, detect torpedoes at 2.9 kilometers, has a 94-second duration and a 180-second reload. So it's pretty much the same sonar that you get with all other cruisers at this tier. The question is, what has that Benham done? Where's the Colorado? Where's the Colorado is my biggest question. Colorado's out. Yep, that's fine. I've got a big island between me and the Colorado. There we go. I should be well clear of those torpedoes. And now we're just in touching range of the Belfast. Now, modules wise is down in the description, but I have gone for aiming systems module 1 and steering gears module 2 and steering gears module 3. So the choice of aiming systems module 1, the reason being is that is versus main battery mod, which makes your reload speed worse but your turret traverse speed better. But the reload on this cruiser is already pretty poor, so I wouldn't want to be making that any worse. Anything you can do to make it better, fair enough, but anything to make it worse, bad idea. And also, the other thing that's up against is a secondary mod, but again, I think the secondary mod isn't the thing to go for. The reason being is, although the secondaries are quite nice on the Cheshire, you want the improved dispersion of your main battery. You've got only 6 guns, and therefore you really need to make them count as much as possible. Now, steering gears module 2, why have I chosen that? Well, the rudder shift is horrendous, and you need to kite like a madman because you're not going to be bouncing or tanking any shots in this cruiser. You're really focusing on your rudder to actually save you and turn you away from incoming damage. So that's why I've gone for that, and that's versus damage control, so you don't get the option to have propulsion mods. I mean, if I could pick propulsion mods, I might contemplate that, but unfortunately it's not available. Now for the third module, obviously I've gone for steering gears module 3. The reason being is I think there's a better choice. Target acquisition, you don't want to be getting that close, and if you are that close then you have sonar, and then the other option is the concealment module. Now the concealment module could be justified if that's your kind of build, but I think being able to dodge the incoming fire when you're being fired at is better than not being seen when you're not detected. Now commander build is also going to be down in the description, and I probably will actually after this we'll take the Cheshire into the port and we'll actually take a good look at some of the commander options that I did, because I think the commander can be something that makes or breaks the Cheshire, and it did take me a long time to go through all the commanders and all the options. I'll probably only summarise my inspirations. I don't want to go through all the inspirations, but I do want to go through the commander options. So as you've been seeing with the playthrough, I guess you could say, in the background, that I'm playing as I'm reading out the notebook, so it always takes a lot of concentration to try and mix between the two. Obviously the more of my notes I can remember, the better. But as you've seen, the playstyle I've adopted with the Cheshire is to play at as much range as possible, and therefore you will notice that in my command build. And I've also gone for as much rudder shift as possible. That's in order to try and mitigate the incoming damage. Now I'm not expecting a high score. That seems to be pretty standard with Cheshire. I mean, when I first got home I was consistently getting about 30,000 damage. That slowly went up as the evening went on. Managed to get a couple of 80,000 of the 100,000 damage games. Obviously while playing the review I am more distracted than I normally would be, and so only 40,000 damage, I'll take it. 5 fires from 43 hits on target, one enemy ship destroyed, and that was the Benham, and didn't even use my torpedoes that game. Going on to the team results, second on the team, from 40,000 damage. You know what, I'll take it. It is what it is. And this is one thing I want to comment on regarding the Cheshire. Currently her ship service cost is too high. She does not have a discounted ship service cost for being a tier 6 premium. I don't know whether this is a bug or a glitch, or whether they actually want to punish us even more with the Cheshire. Obviously if you guys want to try and highlight this to Wargaming/World Warships Legends, feel free. If you want, you can always link this video as evidence, but I've been finding with the economy tab of the Cheshire, the ship service cost is coming in consistently at 104 to 108,000, when it should be coming in at about 80,000. So obviously you're paying too much for a ship that isn't really that amazing, I'm going to be completely honest. Now taking that into the port, obviously she does come with a tier 9 camouflage, or type 9 camouflage, the permanent camouflage. Now this is actually quite a pretty camouflage, I have to confess, but when we get the ship in the port, there is some things that I definitely want to be highlighting to you. First of all, this that you'll see in the centre of the screen in the waterline that comes up and then goes along, that thicker band of armour, that is the citadel. So you can see that in the centre of the ship, her citadel is really riding high in the water, pretty much up to the torpedo deck, and then it comes all the way to the rear. This is the transom stern that I'm talking about, so obviously if you're getting hit in the stern at any kind of like acute angle that you're kiting away like this, then it will go straight into your citadel. Another thing to mention is you can see, better on the other side, you can see that the citadel steps here, so it goes from being just probably about 1 deck level above the waterline to 2 deck levels, or 2 panel levels above the waterline. That step is a bit of a shell trap, so it means if you do get penetrated at certain, even when you're angled, if you do get penetrated through the thinner armor there, then you'll get Citadel too. So again, that is not ideal. One thing I have noted, obviously, it doesn't have too much of an importance in this game at the moment, but she is bristling with anti-aircraft mounts. And her secondaries are dual purpose as well. Now the secondaries are actually quite nice in this game. They have given me a couple of close quarters medals. However, I wouldn't say it's something that you want to be buffing. However, it is interesting to note how many light anti-aircraft mounts she comes with, 20mm and 40mm. So that does mean she might have a bit more purpose in the future. However, that's in the future, so I wouldn't be racing to pick her up right now. As mentioned, the heal is incorrect. The heal isn't as good as it should be. In the PC version of the game, she has a bit of a monster heal. You'd expect probably about 500 HP per second. She's only got the basic standard HP, which only heals a certain percentage of your ship's health overall. So that is something to mention. Now, going through the modules I've already explained, but you can kind of see the limiting options. I think the only thing that some people might contemplate changing out of this would be maybe going for concealment system, but I think anything you can do to improve the rudder on this ship is a must. Now, going over the commander builds, obviously I have gone for the Azur lane Belfast. The reason being is I found she had enough of the traits that I liked in this cruiser. Yes, her base trait of reducing detectability when firing smoke is not useful for the Cheshire unless you're working in a division or you get lucky, but I find that beyond range is a very important skill that you need for the Cheshire. The more standoff distance you have versus enemy battleships, the better. Ingenious is a useful skill if you like that, but I think you want more range. Piercer, don't really worry about the armor piercing on this cruiser. She's all about the high explosives. The armor piercing is nice if you catch a broadside cruiser. However, those opportunities come few and far between, and your reload speed's so slow that by the time you go, oh look, there's a cruiser, it's broadside on, I wish I had AP, by the time you've got AP loaded, it's probably turned away. So if this is the kind of cruiser where you just sit in high explosives. Now, improving the fire chance, I can understand why some people might want to do that, but I don't think that is the right choice because our fire chance is already very, very good. What you want to probably be looking at doing is anything you can do to improve your survivability, and this is why I've looked at full speed ahead. The reason being is it has a massive reduction on your rudder shift again, and it does help with the speed, and a bit more speed on this cruiser isn't going to go amiss. I think Light Fortress is quite a nice trait. However, deciding between Light Fortress and Sponge is probably going to be a personal choice. However, I think the improved HP for the armaments, it's not going to be useful for the turrets. I haven't lost any turrets the way I play. The way I play, if I'm going to lose anything, it's going to be the torpedo launchers, and I don't usually use the torpedo launchers unless it's a brown trouser moment when I'm a little bit too close to something. Fixated is a useful trait, and I think it's more useful than acoustic chamber. And then refill station I think is a really good choice because of that reduced cruiser main battery reload speed, and also I can take this one further, which is very tempting. As you can see, for inspirations I have taken Mikawa out for detectability and Kuznetsov for range. If you don't have the Azur lane commanders, then there's two choices. You've got TENNANT or FRASER. For TENNANT, he makes a good choice because of that reduced incoming citadel damage. That's a nice choice. I think for your first ability you want to be going for Ingenious because you don't really want the improved fire chance. It's nice, but I think you're better off going for Ingenious because it also does improve your traverse speed and your incoming splash damage, and again, like I said, the AP is not worthwhile. Full speed ahead as justified previously before it's too late. No, you want your rudder shift. Velorucius and steer clear. Steer clear obviously for the rudder shift versus the acoustics chamber. And Velorucius, you can choose that one if you want to go for a bit more speed. However, you could also choose Light Fortress in this commander build as well, or Sponge. I think they're all good choices. And then I think at the end you want to be going for fully packed for the additional repair party and sonar versus the damage control party. I don't think the by the book trait is good enough to justify its use. And here you can see, as inspirations, I was playing around with the idea of using a Madden and Mimbelli inspirations in order to try and reduce my reload time as much as possible on that build. I think the other choice is obviously to go for Fraser. His base trait does improve your speed. He has Beyond Range, and I think Beyond Range is a very crucial skill. For your middle skill, Home Run is quite nice because it does buff your torpedo range out to about 8.8 kilometers. Igniter, it really depends on what you think you're going to be using more. And the way I play at long range, so if I have to pick one, I'm probably going to pick Igniter, although I did play around with Home Run as well. Obviously, choices is really here between Light Fortress and Fedorushas. I think Steer Clear, because that's your only trait on Fraser in order to improve your rudder shift. So that's going to be picked over Fixated. Refill Station, again, as per, I think you want the reload speed on these cruisers over the additional repair party. I think there's a bit of swings and roundabouts, but I found I want a bit more DPM, and obviously I've combined this build. I tried Refill Station and combined it with the inspirations of Mimbelli and Kuznetsov, obviously to try and improve the range on top of the range already, and obviously to try and improve the reload speed on top of that already. So those are the 3 command builds that I tried. I think success wise, I found TENNANT was better than Fraser in regards to survivability. However, Fraser did obviously give you more range, which then I found more useful. So with those two, I think play around with both of them, find out which one suits your playstyle the best. Azur Belfast I found to be the most useful. She had most of the skills I was really looking for, beyond range and full speed ahead and refill station, and therefore the other choices were just down to what I felt was more applicable, and that's why I ended up with Azur Belfast. So if you're looking at picking up Cheshire, I would say, unless you're collecting all the ships or you're a Royal Navy collector, I would probably give this one a pass if I was you. As you have seen, I've managed to get myself up to 80,000 ship XP just playing and testing this. I hope the honest star review is appreciated. I wouldn't recommend her unless you're a very experienced cruiser player and you're looking for a challenge, because I have found her challenging, but once I managed to find my stride in her, I have managed to actually enjoy her. For division play, I think she's going to go well playing alongside battleships if you go for that long range build. She's not the kind of cruiser that you're going to be backing up a destroyer in, but you might say back up a smaller cruiser, maybe the Belfast or the Fiji or something else like that. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this review and that little commander summary at the end. I don't normally do the commander summary, but I think the commander build can make or break your experience in this cruiser, and therefore I really wanted to go through it with you. Now, obviously, I'd like to say thank you to the patrons, because this channel is non-monetized, and if you want to subscribe, feel free to subscribe, and if you are already subscribed, I'd like to say thank you very much, guys, for your continued support and contributions to the channel. If you have enjoyed it, obviously give it a thumbs up, and as always, for a premium review, the patrons' names will be on screen. Well, until next time, I'm the Gallifrey Major, and back to the port.